Today we continue our quest to make the most detailed LEGO Minecraft Savannah Village ever built. So far, we've got a lovely fishing area with a small island, bridge, and the fisherman's hut. From there, a path takes you over to the quintessential farmhouse, which will eventually have some farmland to oversee. And in the last episode, we took a bit of a departure from your standard village structure fare to introduce a hidden threat to the town in the form of a zombie dungeon buried away in the cliffside. This time around, we will be returning to building houses for the village, and I've picked something rather unusual. The village Tannery, home of the leather worker. So break out your cauldrons and your cows, and let's get to building. If you watch the other videos on this channel, you know that I've been having a lot of work done around the house as I tried desperately to fix up the LEGO room. And unfortunately, that work has resulted in the entire display being caked in this lovely layer of dust. And one of the most common questions I get on these videos is how I keep the models clean. Do I ever have the perfect example to demonstrate on? Because this is pretty disgusting. So I've come to use this keyboard dusting gel. It just essentially is slime and it works wonders. I am not sponsored, nor have I ever been sponsored by Color Coral. It's just a fantastic product that one of my castmates on LEGO Masters introduced me to a number of years ago. And what's so great about this stuff is that it can fit in all the cracks, whether that be the cracks between the tiles like you see on the trees here, or in these tight little corners in between bricks. And it picks up all the dust, sticks to the gel, and then when you're done with the gel or the gel is too dirty, you can just throw it out and use the next bit. So yeah, I'd highly recommend picking up a container of this stuff. It is infinitely useful, and of course it can be used on non-LEGO products as well, as was its intended purpose, like a keyboard. But yeah, anyway, there you go. There's my cleaning secret revealed. And the other big secret is don't have a bunch of lumber being cut in your LEGO room where these things are stored. That will also help prevent dust buildup. Go figure. Anyway, let's get back to the build here. This module will be added onto the other side of the zombie dungeon, which will put it opposite the fisherman's hut. That row of 3 modules there will make up the entire back of the display. And so here we're going to round out the base of the big mountain that we've been working on, and there will be room here on the bottom for the aforementioned tannery. And along with that, we'll expand the mine shaft that we started in the previous episode. So, as usual, this will be your standard 8x16 block module or 16x32 LEGO studs. And you can see here that I've already built in the railway system, the same techniques that we used last time. And I'm adding some variety to the base with the use of some diorite made out of light bluish gray. A technique that I discovered between episodes is using these inverted 2x2 round tiles on the base of the module to allow better room for the interconnecting wires to snake underneath without becoming damaged. These little tiles provide a plate's worth of extra space beneath these, and that's more than enough for the super thin wires to fit underneath. It makes wiring everything together a lot more easy too. And you better believe there will be a lot more wiring in this episode because I'm going to be adding quite a few lights here, starting out with this light beneath a cave spider spawner. So out of all the mine shafts I've done, somehow I've never added a cave spider spawner to any of them. So we're gonna fix that today. LEGO has thankfully made a little cave spider spawner head as part of the Bedrock Adventure set and the Mountain Cave. It's another one of those 1x1 plates with printing on the side, like you see in the micro mobs for the crafting table and the microbiome set that came out last year. I'm gonna use the same spawner design that I used for the zombie dungeon, and that little piece is gonna fit perfectly inside. I do have a lot of lights planned for this module, so I'm breaking out the 6 dock, which will allow us to plug in up to 6 different lights. And once again, a huge thank you to Light My Bricks for sending these over and supporting this project and making sure that it does light up. When I did the last world, that was one of the most frequently requested things, and it's certainly something that I've wanted to do for quite a while, especially after lighting the island castle, which was kind of my first foray into brick lighting. It really adds so much to a model. With everything in place, I think we're due for a little bit of tiling. Now, no cave spider spawner is complete without some cobwebs, and I have to thank the Bricklink store Brick Treehouse for sending these over free of charge. I forgot to add them to my order, sent out a message saying if there was any way I could get these added to the order, and he just shipped them off to me free of charge. So generous, it was a wonderful Christmas surprise, and he had a ton of them. So we're gonna fill this place up with some lovely cobwebs. So yeah, definitely check out Brick Treehouse for your Lego Minecraft needs. He's got hundreds of Minecraft parts there, including some fun ones like the old silverfish mold, as well as plenty of sheep colors. Here in the build, I'm trying to decorate the walls as best I can with some diamond ore on one side and continuing that diorite patch here on the right. The next step is going to be simply building up the walls. There's not really enough room to put any more cave systems or anything beneath the structure that I've got planned. But I've got one last surprise. In the last episode, Crafty Sea Pickle suggested that I make some redstone light up, so I think this is going to be a perfect place to do that, and it's going to give this spawner area a creepy red glow. So I'm cracking open some more microlights to help light up this ore. The lights themselves are white, but once placed inside these red pips, it should give the whole place this really eerie glow. I can't imagine any of the players in this world are going to risk the cave spider spawner just to get a single piece of redstone. Little do they know though, I actually have no cave spiders because they're still all on the old Minecraft World display up in Minneapolis. Eventually, I'll get one of those and add the spider in here. And while that piece of redstone might not be all that tempting, a few more diamonds in the equation might lure a player down in here. I'll cap off these mineshaft supports here, and then we can finally start moving on to the surface layer of the module. I'm pretty unconcerned with the appearance of the back here since it's all going to be covered up by the zombie dungeon module which we made last time. So instead I'm going to conserve as many bricks as I can by leaving this back part open. That'll also give me plenty of room to shove in all these extra wires sticking out that I'm likely going to have since there's a lot of lighting components going into this particular module. Then I'm going to start laying the foundations for the village pathing that will go above all this. I'm going to be using that same technique that I brought out in episode 2. It's really thin, really efficient. It gives us enough room to keep that mine shaft underneath. I'm really happy with how it's been working out so far for the previous modules. I actually didn't originally plan on having all these caves and underground structures because I didn't think it was possible to get the pathing that narrow. So I'm really glad I figured it out before starting this series. It's been a game changer and it's allowed me to make much more interesting episodes, I think, because of it. In fact, this whole mineshaft section here with the cave spider spawner was not part of the original plan even just a few days ago. I know this technique can be a lot to wrap your head around, so I'm going to try to explain it here in detail. Alright, so let's go into a bit more detail on that village path. So I've got these two sections here. One is just a standard 1x2 by 1 2/3 snot brick there. And we're of course building this sideways. The other section is very similar, but it's made with a bracket there, a brick and a plate. And that means that ends up being that half a plate taller. So this brick here used on its side is going to be for the indented village paths, and then we'll put grass on top of this one. So as you build out the path like this, it actually becomes pretty easy to visualize what the actual road looks like. These shorter sections are indeed indented just like the final build will be. And these paths are plenty chaotic, so I like to add some variation rather than making it simply 3 blocks wide and even on all sides. It looks well trodden, I guess you could say. And note too, because this is on the edge of the model, I've made this one side all reddish brown, but then I've used more common colors that I've got a lot of on the interior, bits that are going to be covered up anyway. Then for this last assembly here, I'm using these pieces here, these little upright brackets, to help secure it to the ground again. So you can see we've got some anti-studs on the bottom. And that's going to be the first layer of our village path. And that slides nicely into place above the tiles here, meaning that we can press down on it without it capsizing on itself. And then I've got this little block here, which makes for a single individual indented path. You can see that 2x2 bracket on the bottom, D-snots on the back, and that'll just attach right over here by itself. And here on top, I'll place the dark tan 2x2 tiles. That kind of ends up being the perfect color for these paths. And from what I've seen, this is a common brick to find at the LEGO store pick-a-brick wall, so that's always a plus. That means it's cheap. Next, I'm going to start on the floor of the tannery itself. There's some fun techniques that we'll have to employ here to get all the textures that we want in this pretty small interior space, though it will be the biggest interior yet. The farmhouse had 9 blocks of interior, the tannery's got 10. I'm using inverted jumpers to create the side log texture of acacia wood, and that's inverted here using a very simple but effective technique. And thankfully, I will never run out of 2x2 jumper plates because there's tons included in every LEGO Minecraft set. Next, I'm going to build the door. This is the same technique we used before, but this one is built into the ground, and that's simply because it felt like that was the cleanest way to do it. You've got the old dark gray on the bottom representing the side of acacia logs. Hopefully LEGO starts making more larger transparent plates again. They'll be stronger and look nicer for the backs of these doors. It's hard to find clean, clear 2x4 transparent plates like the one I used in the first episode. The hardest part of this structure is going to be lighting it. I'm moving the torch positions around to be just a bit more noticeable than the one you'll find in game. And to answer this question posed by Birdie Bob, I've reversed the order simply because the 1x1 hollow pip only comes in transparent orange and not transparent yellow yet, so I have to use that one to connect it to the small bar below. It's not a perfect look, but once it lights up, it gets hard to tell what colors these actually are anyway because they're just so bright. I'm making the walls out of 2 rows of 1x2 bricks so I can hide the wires between them. That way it will look good on the interior and the exterior. And these wires from Light My Bricks are indeed thin enough to fit smoothly down in there without affecting the construction of the build. LEGO pieces are indeed made with some tolerance in between them, so you can do things like this without them even being technically LEGO illegal. I'm really excited to see how these look together once we turn this on for the first time. I actually don't test the lighting as I go. I want it to be a big surprise when it's all finished for myself as well. Next up, I'll add the finishing touches to the interior. Of course, we need the cauldrons here. That's the most important block in the tannery. I'm just basically reusing a design that's been a classic part of the Minecraft theme ever since the Witch Hut set. It's simple, but it looks kind of perfect. For the last interior detail, I'm stealing the one chest I haven't used from the new set lineup. You'll find this one in the Wither Battle set, the flagship set of the Winter 2026 wave. I'm not entirely convinced by the new Wither design. I'd encourage you to check out my custom design instead, but what I do like here is the amazing variety of nether mobs, including the brand new, very simple but very adorable baby Strider. I don't want to get anyone's hopes up too much lest it falls through, but I would like to revisit the nether still at some point. And this set definitely gives me a good excuse to do so. We'll go back to the house itself in a second, but we've got a lot of terrain to clean up yet. And it's a bit of a slower process just because of the complexity of it all. We have a lot of things to navigate. First of all, the house itself, but also the mine shaft and the pathing that goes through all of this. And not helping matters is the fact that I have to continually run upstairs to grab bricks that I have forgotten because the basement is still a mess. The village path will actually go up a few layers here, so we're going to do these pathing segments in sections. The techniques here are the same ones that you saw earlier, just a slightly different layout to accommodate the bit of randomness I want to see in these paths, just like what you'd find in game. Because this has 2 sides exposed there on the corner, I've made sure to tile that all off and that there's no unsightly colors visible. To add further stability to these sections and to lock them into place, I can actually attach the regular studs up terrain to these assemblies on the brackets. It all lines up perfectly thanks to the magic of LEGO math. The backside of this module will indeed slope up into that big mountain that will form the central part of this display. And you had better believe that atop those cliffs, we're going to have even more village structures. It's going to start looking pretty cool and chaotic. There are plenty of examples of Savannah villages blending over into windswept terrain, and the results are always pretty striking and really, really fun. Here, I'll attach that last layer of the village path, and there's a few fun stickers. Let me know if you recognize any of them. Now we can take a step back, and I think you can tell that this whole layout makes a lot more sense with the terrain in place. We've still got plenty of building to do when it comes to the cliffs, but it feels satisfying for me, even as the builder, to know that this is lining up the way it should be. And at this stage, I think we're ready for some good old tiling time. And to cover up the jumpers, we have to remember the most important, or at least the most expensive piece of this puzzle, some good old olive green flower stems. Seeing all these little stems makes me giddy. Is that because they actually look good, or is it just because I know how ridiculously rare they are? Maybe a combination of both. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Anyway, we got diorite down below, so let's put some andesite up here so we have all our stone variants represented finally in the terrain. I usually, ironically, go pretty hard on the granite, which is by far the hardest one to do. I guess I just gotta flex that sand red somehow. Hopefully you like the look of this andesite too. I'm not sure I ever included andesite in the old world. I'm going to be installing one last light into the house that's going to just go above, attached to the roof, so it sends some light through the doors and through the windows. I'm once again hiding the wires in the wall by using these 1 stud wide bricks, and I'm starting to realize how little bright light orange I actually have in my collection. It's not all that common of a color. The only 2x2 bricks I have in the color, I believe, came in the Crafting Box 4.0 as part of the big cat base you could make in that set. I'll have to remember to add these to the wanted list, as this won't be the last bright light orange building I plan on making. Here out front, I'll add these simple banners, made to represent, I imagine, some tanned hides. The contrast between the reddish brown and the dark orange works pretty well here. From there, I'll just continue to build up the cliff. I'm gonna get it to the same level as the other modules, and eventually we'll make it even taller in future episodes. The final result is actually quite nice. There's a lot going on in this module, yet it doesn't feel busy or overwhelming to me. It feels like it strikes a good balance here, much better than what I accomplished with the previous Minecraft world. Let me know what you think. Of course, though, we aren't quite done with this build. We still gotta get a roof on that house. And this is built in the same way that I constructed the village farmhouse roof. The only difference is that it's slightly longer. And this time around, I ran out of 1x2 dark orange tiles. I really don't like making bricklink orders this late into a build because the parts can take another week or longer to arrive. So I went to looking what sets in my collection had some spare 1x2 tiles that I could steal, and lo and behold, that's how I'm gonna feature the fox in this series. The fox is probably the least interesting of the winter 2026 sets, but it does have 10 of those sweet 1x2 dark orange tiles on it, so I'm glad it could contribute something to this new Savannah Village LEGO Minecraft series. Because of the wires, I've decided to permanently attach the roof on top, meaning it's studded down and won't be easily removed. Thankfully, there's some nice windows that will still allow you to see inside, and you, dear viewer, will always know there's a nicely finished interior in there. Let's add a few mobs and figures as a final touch. Cows feel like a pretty appropriate addition here. Are these actually the first passive mobs I've decided to add to this world? Whoops. I'll try to be better about that in the future. I'll also add the player from the Wither battle set. He's pretty cool. And as Jasper rightly reminded me, I need to have Steve as part of this new world too. It makes sense to have him kitted out in a set of leather armor, perhaps a set that he just stole from the Tannery's chest. Strangely enough, leather armor is the rarest of all LEGO armor sets, only having been included in one set back in 2017, the Jungle Temple. LEGO once dabbled in dyed leather armor too with their Frozen Peak set, but we haven't seen any more colors in recent years. Still hoping for armor trims later this year too. We'll see what happens, I suppose. There's no official Savannah Village leather worker, but one of our farmers without a hat will sell the position well enough, I think. And there, with all our figures and mobs in place, I think our fourth module is complete. Let's get it added into the larger display. The village tannery finishes off the back side of the model, And yes, this is actually supposed to be the least interesting view of the village. Of course, it's made for 360-degree viewing, but I intend for the typical front to be even spicier, kind of like what you saw with the previous world. It should be pretty awesome when it all comes together. The picture is going to become a lot more clear as we continue from episode to episode. And let's turn on those lights. I do wonder how many LEDs can be supported by a single power source, and we are definitely going to find out over the course of this series. There's plenty more lights to come, as I plan on integrating at least a couple into each module. And there you go. That's gonna about do it for today's episode. Next time, we'll be building a fan-requested underground structure, a trail rune. I never added one of these to the original Minecraft world, and I was surprised at how much fun it was actually to build this. So if you want to see that episode right now, you can do so by becoming a channel member. It's a great way to support this and future Cheesy Studios projects, and if you join the members-only Discord, you can get connected with some really cool LEGO Minecraft enjoyers. Follow the link in the description or hit the join button down below for more details. Until next time, I hope you have yourself a great life. I'll see you again here soon.